Dawn?
Hey, Don,
Dawn?
can you?
I'm getting this, apparently this
I've only got 4.3, but he's got to
4.4 is the budget.
What? Wait a minute. Something's not right here. Can you go up? Oh, that's too far.
Now, this is the one we're going to postpone, is that right?
No, no, no.
Which one are we
That-
postponing? I know we're postponing off the consent.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Why do you have 4.4 on yours? You got the right date?
Yeah. I do? Wait a minute.
I mean, if you downloaded it early on, did you down?
Let me see.
I don't want it.
Let
Just
me see.
that's a PDF.
Well, now, okay, I see what you're saying now.
Okay, let's.
I had the wrong agenda.
Oh, you scared me.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
No, 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 it's okay.
Hey, I wasn't involved in that.
No,
That
wasn't deliberate.
But I like that for sometime in the future. We'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
Go off at 7:30.
Is mine? Mine. He could have got me. Oh yeah, no, it's.
Hopefully Steph's coming. I guess she is.
She's in traffic.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But if she can't get here, she can't get here. We still do it, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We got a quorum.
I know, man.
Mark's gonna keep us in line.
Yeah.
And Mark can't keep himself in line today. Yeah. Oh, no, today is anything but calm, cool, and collected.
Hey, I like it. I like that. Hey, but you know what? This is a good time to try it. Yeah, but really, they can't see this from over there. They wouldn't know if you had it on. They wouldn't know anyway. But I'll be sure to mention it. Well, I'm on. At this time, the mayor will call to order the regular city council meeting for 6 p.m. Tuesday, August the 26th, 2025. City council chambers, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas. Have here on the dais with us this evening, District 2, Donna Renee Anderson, our deputy mayor pro tem. We also have District 3, Mayor Ronnie Velasquez. Not with us, but on her way. I understand she's in traffic. She may make it, may not. Is District 4, Stephanie Holmes Thomas, If she isn't, she is excused. And then District 5, Mayor Pro Tem Phil Robinson. Also have our interim city manager, Mark Mills, our attorneys, and our city secretary with us. At this time, I'll ask you to stand, please, for invocation. If Pastor Rollison would come forward, please remain standing for our pledges.
Let us bow. To our Creator God, we just, first of all, want to thank you for another day. Every day is precious, and we thank you for the precious gift of life. We do not take it for granted, and so we just want to thank you. We come at this setting asking that you would bless and be a blessing to both our mayor and also these council members. Pray that you would endow them with your wisdom and that you would lead and guide them. And then, Lord, we are asking that you would help this city to be a model city, and all that is done and all that is decided upon, then, Lord, it will be done so to please you, and again, help this city to be a model to all the cities that are around. Thank you again for this time, and we pray that you will bless these proceedings. It is in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Pastor, if you would, please come forward. Well, typically, we would give you a challenge point, right? At this part in this, our meeting. But football is right around the corner. Football season is. So we have our Terrell logo football with the mayor and all of the council members on there. And so I'm going to encourage you to continue to throw Jesus at this community. And I hope we continue to catch Jesus in this community.
Amen.
All right?
Amen.
So thank you for all you do for this community.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, y'all want to come take a picture? No. Come on. Donna Renee?
Going good.
There we go.
I thought it was a cowboy logo.
And have the vote. No, they can vote the budget tonight. Oh, you don't? Oh, you don't? We can't vote it yet? Oh, okay. So we'll have to postpone it? Oh, yeah. But postpone it. Okay. No problem.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is mayor and council community recognitions and events. I want to, like I said, football season is in the air and it's right around the corner. Friday night, the Terrell Tigers will have their first home game. So if you've got time and can, come out and support the band, the Tigerettes, the football team, the cheerleaders, and everybody involved. It's a fun evening. The kickoff is at 7 p.m., so the mayor invites you to come out and watch some good football. Does anybody else have anything going on?
Yes. Since it's a short meet, I'm going to highlight 3 different items or areas. One, a gentle thank you to staff. I really appreciate the working relationships that we have as council members with staff, whether it's alerting us of information that we should be aware of regarding our community, or being more than willing to provide information that can be helpful to our community members. Second, I want to give a kudos to the Terrell Chamber of Commerce because they have hosted their first women's event and first young professional group events. And I am very hopeful for the city of Terrell because our young professionals group When I was in attendance, we had Bittner and Sadie, who are young professionals with the Terrell Chamber of Commerce, and they led the first event. And they did it purposefully. They introduced the purpose of the group. They had a clear ask for attendees when they were asking them to introduce them. And they obtained feedback during the event for future events. So I think we may have some like even co-chairs for events, for their own future events there. But something that I observed, which isn't surprising, but at least half or more of the young professional attendees who either live in the city of Terrell or work in the city of Terrell were there representing their family's business or their employer, which really underscores, the purpose of the group, underscores the Chamber of Commerce, and then it underscores the backbone of our community, our businesses. Then I'll put a plug in for our churches too, right? Our churches. So kudos to them for hosting. And then while we have some of our community members here, like our churches, or even a current board member, I want to put in a plug and see if they will help me, help us at the City of Terrell promote the Terrell Youth Council. We are looking for applicants, high school students that are willing to give their time for a couple of weeks during the school year to come to the City of Terrell for a free program, learning event with dinner, I hear. So we'll make sure to feed them. But, if you know of someone that comes to mind in the community that you think would be a good fit, and maybe they need help with their application or maybe a nudge, we would greatly appreciate you and helping them get introduced to the Terrell Citizens Council. And you can always reach any city staff member here, or give me a call and I can make sure to help provide information.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor, I wanted to recognize our Terrell Animal Shelter had their Clear the Shelter event just recently, and they were able to adopt out 4 dogs, I think 2 more pending adoptions, so great success there. Congratulations to those guys. I also want to recognize the folks from our Glen Haven neighborhood. They've been very engaged in kind of looking at what's going on with the Terra Nova development and meeting with the developer, and I just appreciate that kind of engagement from our citizenry, so just glad to see you guys here, and happy to see everyone being engaged in that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, our next item on the agenda is to hear remarks from visitors. Do we have any? Okay. Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing and city council actions. 4.1 is conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding establishing the tax rate on all taxable property within the city of Terrell, Texas for fiscal year 2025 through 2026, and levying and ordering collection for the tax year 2025, and providing a lien on all real and personal property to secure the payment of taxes assessed. This is going to be handled by our interim city manager, Mark Mills.
Mayor, council, good evening. Decided to go casual this evening, sorry. So this evening I have a presentation for a public hearing on our tax rate for tax year 2025, which will be used to fund the fiscal year 2026 budget. We held a workshop with you all last Friday, and back on August the 5th, we brought to you a question about the notice that we were going to put in the paper and asked, what would you reasonably be able to stand behind as far as a tax rate that would be the maximum that you could adopt? And during that meeting, it was determined that 81 cents would be the number that we would publish, with the understanding that would be the absolute maximum that you would be able to adopt, with the intent all along to not have to adopt a tax rate of 81 cents. We posted that. We've been working on the budget, and we have been working on the budget up until about 15 minutes ago. And I am pleased to tell you that we actually will be presenting you a budget this evening that is based on a tax rate of 76.42 cents. So our notice was a proposed tax rate of 81 cents, the no new revenue rate 411085, and a voter approval rate of 862142. So what does that mean? The no new revenue rate is the revenue rate that would generate roughly the same amount of property tax for the city this year compared to last year for properties that were on the roll in both years. The voter approval rate is the maximum tax rate that can be adopted by city council without having to go to the voters for approval. If you exceed the voter approval rate, then you have required to have a mandatory election. So the city could have put in a notice for 86.2142 cents. We advertised for 81. And again, we've been working on the budget today up through right before this meeting to try to get us to a point that we would be able to fund the major things that we talked about during the August 22nd work session. And we'll have a few options for you this evening. But I'm pleased that we're going to be a proposed tax rate of 76.42 cents. 58.4 cents going to maintenance and operations. That's actually less than last year. Last year it was 61.42. And our interest and sinking rate at 18 cents. So when I talked to you all on Friday, last year when the budget was adopted, the INS rate was 15 cents, and that was artificially low, and we talked about what had happened and why. So we went forward to try to correct that this year. The INS rate that we would have to adopt to fully fund our principal and interest payments is actually 19.29 cents. I'm pulling roughly $266,000 out of INS 1 fund balance. It's not nearly what needed to be made up, but it buys us a little bit of time so we didn't have to eat the entire increase this year. So we're using $266,000 of INS reserves, and it's there to be spent on debt service. That's what its purpose is. So we're doing that to draw the INS rate down to 18 cents, okay? So our tax rate, again, for tax year 2025, which will fund fiscal 26, is proposed at 76.42 cents. This is the same tax rate as last year. If adopted, this would be the 18th consecutive year that the tax rate would be 76.42 cents. On a property that it is $100 of valuation, and I use this as an example because if you own a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 home, this should multiply it by that number, and that'll get you there. So on a $100,000 home, if you do not have a homestead exemption, so if it's a rental property or you own multiple properties, you would take the $100,000 in valuation. You would then divide that by 100. Which in this case is $1,000. That's the per $100 of valuation, and then you multiply it by the tax rate. So for every $100,000 of value that your home may be, $764.20 is what the levy on that property would be per 100,000. For individuals that have a homestead exemption, again, it would be the 100,000. The city offers a 10% homestead exemption, so you would actually be getting a discount off your taxable value of $10,000. The city would tax on the 90,000, which would generate $687.78 per $100,000. In addition, the city offers tax ceilings for individuals over the age of 65 and individuals that are disabled. Once you reach 65, Kaufman Appraisal District should be automatically applying that. And if you are a disabled individual and want the ceiling, as soon as you are able to provide documentation of the disability, it can be applied to your account. Again, those are handled through the Kaufman Central Appraisal District. The city's tax ceilings only apply to the taxes levied by the city, but as a result, you will not pay more in city taxes starting from the year that your tax ceiling is applied. So for the average property in the city of Terrell, the average taxable value last year was $184,000. We generated roughly $1,400 in property tax revenue. This year, the average taxable value has gone up. We're at $198,000. Applying the same tax rate on the same property, on the average property, we would generate roughly $1,500, difference of about $109. I will pause for questions, but state law does not permit us to adopt a tax rate the same night as we have a budget public hearing. We're having our budget public hearing this evening, so this actually will be a vote on Friday at a special council meeting at 1 o'clock. The city council will hold a vote on the tax rate at a separate meeting following this public hearing. It'll be held at the City Council Chambers, Terrell City Hall, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas, 75160, Friday, August the 29th. 2025 at 1 p.m. and I am available for any questions you all may have.
Okay, this is a public hearing. How about if we, Mark, we do the public hearing and then come back and take some questions from the council?
Excellent.
Does that work? All right. So this is a public hearing. At this time, the mayor will call the public hearing to receive comments regarding establishing the tax rate on all taxable property within the city of Terrell, Texas for fiscal year 2025 through 2026 and levying and ordering collection for the tax year 2025 and providing a lien on all real and personal property to secure the payment of taxes assessed. Is there anyone who would like to come forward? If you would, please state your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Zamberlyn Spencer McNutt, and I reside at my personal home, 121 Mellon Street, my mother's 119 Mellon Street, as well as we have family properties throughout the city at the Porter Estate Additions in Dewberry. So we are property owners and very concerned in the tax. I want to commend Mr. Mark Mills and the council for how you guys have kept this tax rate down. Of course, we know we have to have taxes to pay for things that we need. And I just want to say kudos and thank you for being concerned for the citizens and what you could do with the least amount you can do it with. So, of course, we always want to keep taxes at a minimum, but we understand that taxes do have to go up so that we can pay for the things we need. So I just want to say thank you with that, and I commend you for the hard work that you guys are I'm very much in favor of continuing at the rate that we have presently. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing and move forward with,
4.2, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we are to conduct a public hearing.
no, we've already had the public hearing.
This is budget.
The budget? Oh, we're doing the budget
There is
too?
no
Okay,
action on the tax
okay,
rate
okay,
tonight.
gotcha. Yeah, that's right. Gotcha. Yes, did you have any questions for, before we go to 4.2, does anybody have any questions for Mark regarding 4.1? We've had the public hearing, now it's up to you.
So you have explained the tax rate and the formula. How does, and I don't know if this is an inappropriate question, how does Senate Bill 10 affect this?
I don't think,
Hold on. It is Senate Bill 10, does the lower revenue multiplier, if this happens, is it going to affect the tax rate?
So I'm trying to remember which one Senate Bill 10 is. There's
It
a couple
is-
of pieces of legislation out there. One is a cap on the amount of expenditures based on prior year
Not-
expenditures adjusted for
Not that
population.
one. This one is,
Is this the 1%?
yes, it's to 1% for all Texas cities, lower the revenue multiplier in the voter approval property tax rate calculation. Is that, if this comes out, because it's going to the floor, how is this going to affect what we're doing tonight?
It is not going to affect anything that you're doing tonight because that bill would not go into effect till January 1.
Okay.
Okay? So you have the ability to take whatever action you need this evening or on Friday. It is, again, it won't take effect till January 1. It is from a planning perspective, it's a very detrimental bill. So several years ago, the voter approval rate, which is, again, the highest rate that the city can adopt without an election, was 8% over your prior year M&O. Several years ago, legislation passed that lowered that to, the push was for 2.5%. It ended up passing at 3.5%. So that restricts the amount of additional revenue you can generate without going to the voters.
Okay.
We are currently at 3.5%. So if you remember the talking about the voter approval rate at 86 cents, that number would be substantially lower before we had to go to the voters, because it would be based on a 1% increase versus a 3.5% increase.
So we have until January.
This will be an issue for next year, if it passes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mark, I'd like to applaud you for listening to council and the concerns we expressed regarding our citizens, dealing with, some financial concerns around, already having some issues with our water rates and other expenses in our town, and keeping our tax rate low and consistent across the last 8 years. I think that's a big service to our community. But I do have a few concerns regarding, some of the things we discussed in our budget hearing. The fact that you said you arrived at this rate maybe 30 minutes before the meeting. Did we cut anything that is a necessity or something that is a high priority for council or for the citizens? Or how did we arrive at this rate?
From the existing services, there were cuts. When I came to you last Friday, it was $755,000. We found an additional $300,000 to $400,000. I don't believe it's going to be any kind of service level impact. The right, wrong, indifferent, the budgets adopted in the past seem to have a high level of contingency funds. So things not necessarily thought out but put aside. I've cleared those out. That's probably $700,000 of the total change. There was some substantial contingencies that we've cleared out. I have gone through and reduced departmental budgets. I typically did it based on historic spend. If you had a department that had $10,000 in a line and they historically spent $6,000, they got cut to $6,000 or $7,000, and then we'll have follow-up discussions with the department heads. Two things that we did this year that we talked about. One was we had talked about not using any reserves and setting the INS rate at 19.2 cents. We can still do that, but that's about $266,000 less available to the general fund. The other portion is we ended up taking roughly $700,000 out of the Employee Support Fund, which is a self-insurance fund. There were funds available. When we presented to you on Friday, it was about the direction given last year was to reduce the revenue in the employee support by roughly $1 million. Well, we had to come back up to set the level of funding necessary to support the fund. Instead of taking it all in one bite, we ended up pulling some reserves out of the employee support fund so that we could get to where we needed to be to fund a couple of the major things in the general fund. But it benefited all funds. We do have the funds to cover it, and the intent is as we move forward to wean ourselves off of that over a year or two.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I do just want to ensure that we're not operating on a shoestring budget in the coming year. I know we've got a new fire station to staff with all new firefighters. We've got some significant expenses coming up. I'm all for keeping the tax rate as low as possible, consistently where it is right now. That's perfect. But I also want to make sure that we're meeting our citizens' needs and our staff's needs.
And I'm an individual that is not afraid of saying, I cut too deep and coming back with a budget amendment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we can revisit this if something does occur.
If something occurs, you will hear from us. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Mark, did I hear you say that the compensation increases, did we end up landing on a mid, a high?
I landed exactly where I was directed to land. You'll have a decision to make on whether or not you want to fund it or not. But I went to the top end of what you all asked for. And I'll share that with you, and you can kind of see the impact of that, and we'll decide. You can all can then decide from there if that's how you want us to proceed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, council. As I stated at our budget retreat and hearing, this is a new time for all of us about being more involved in the making of the sausage and how we get to the tax rate. In the past, we just gave markers to hit and then said, go out and do it. But y'all were more engaged. I think the community is better for it. Each one of you, thank you for your input during that process. It was interesting for all of us to see. And like I said, you know what? Sometimes we don't get everything we want, but we can get most of it. And Mark did a good job coming in and landing this thing right where we wanted it. So good job, Mark. Good job, staff. And thank you, all of the department heads who worked with Mark to get there. Not an easy thing.
No, I have one thing.
Yes.
Mark, did we remember the recycling center?
You're jumping ahead. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Spoiler alert.
I'm just,
Okay.
my colleagues, when people say tax, now that I know how the tax rate works, I'm probably going to be the one voice that says if we can go up to a little bit more, it might be helpful. But at the same time, across the entire state, the tax rates are going to be discussed this evening.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the morning where no one can come and hear what they have to say. So at least everyone is here that is interested in what's happening. My concern is services. We are all in agreement about streets and infrastructure. I am hot on infrastructure. And we've all agreed that we're going to do it right. So I'm just, as low as possible, but let's not just penny pinch to the point that we take away from why we're here. Our infrastructure is 1800s, and the earth has said to the pipes, we want you to leave. And I would like us to take care of that. And the employees who do the work. And our citizens who have to take their children to school and go to work. So we're walking a fine line. But thank you. Your staff, there are no words to say how much I appreciate the work you've put in to make this happen.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mayor, if I may say one more
Yes,
thing.
yes.
I think this might be an appropriate time to discuss sort of, since we're kind of seeing how the sausage is made, as you put it, with the tax rate. I think one of the things to consider is, I'm often asked by our constituents, and I think this is especially key, we have some of our Glen Haven residents here as well. I'm often asked why, say a city like Heath or Rockwall has a lower tax rate than Terrell. And the reason why is because they have some, higher property valuations there. They can get the revenue they need to run their city by those higher property valuations, but at a lower tax rate. So if you are able to have some higher end properties in your city, then you could potentially lower the rate for folks who are in, middle class housing or housing that's not at that executive level. So that's kind of why I think some of these, especially the one that's on the table currently, might be a positive thing for Terrell, is we'll have some higher end properties to bring in revenue for the city, and then we can lower the rate throughout the city. That gives us the opportunity to do so.
They have more residents paying in as well, which helps when you spread it out.
Indeed.
I just want to, in full disclosure for everyone, the purpose of the Friday meeting isn't something that the council determined that needed to be done. We are following state law, is that correct? On our meeting on Friday?
That is correct. The state law does not allow a city to adopt its tax rate the same night that it conducts its budget public hearing.
So it's not that the council or the mayor is trying to say, hey, you know what, let's come back another day and vote on it. It's because we have to follow state law as we move through this process. So just for public record and everybody to know. And then, two, the reason why it's in the afternoon is because that's the schedule that works for the council. You got to remember, most of us have jobs, and so we try to work with the time that works for the council to be able to be here and have a quorum.
Yeah, staff is not being sneaky.
Right.
We're just trying to comply with state law.
Yeah.
And again, we're having the public hearing this evening so that anyone that has an interest can come and speak and express their thoughts.
Exactly. All right, our next item on the agenda is 4.2, conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding the amended fiscal year 2024-2025 budget and a budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1 of 2025 and ending September the 30th of 2026. Our interim city manager, Mark Mills. Again, this might be a good time to talk about our budget October through September 30th, October 1 through September 30th, not January to
Correct.
December 31st.
Our fiscal year is October 1st through September the 30th.
Okay. All right.
I was working on the presentation right before, so please bear with us.
Yeah, mine's not coming up either. I don't-
It's a separate document, so.
Come on, Don. I'm just
Don, you got this at 5:58.
I know, right?
She's got it, she's got it.
There's always a
Sounds the
glitch.
best.
Hey, but we're going to work. There's a glitch, but we're working on it. She's done good.
Don's got it well in hand.
Okay, so this evening, we're going to be talking about the FY25 amended budget and the FY26 proposed budget. The presentation this evening is going to focus primarily on the general fund and the utility fund. Just be a high-level overview. Again, those are our two major funds that accounts for roughly, $80 million or so out of our $120 million budget, so it's the vast majority. General fund is the fund that when you think of typical government services, that's the fund that you would think of, and then when you think of water and sewer, that's utility. So our general fund, this evening, we have proposed additions to the budget, and I've got a slide that, let me skip forward a little bit. There we go. So our revenue for the general fund is $40.1 million for the fiscal year for 2026. We have expenditures of roughly $38.4 million. We are making a request for additional recurring funds of $1.5 million, and then non-recurring dollars of $296,000. So when you see that we are revenue under expenditures by $214,000, it's a planned drawdown for one-time expenditures, equipment, things like that, things that won't recur year after year after year. So the recurring expenditures, we had talked on Friday about the addition of an IT director. We've actually been able to completely absorb those costs. We had an increase in costs of $90,000 related to our IT provider. And then we had a position that we were able to eliminate. We actually had additional funds that we were able to reduce to completely offset the addition to that position. So there will be no impact to the general fund and no impact to the utility fund. We are adding a code enforcement officer. This is a net increase to the general fund of just under $34,000. We had two code enforcement officers. We have redeployed one of them into municipal development and engineering to be an inspector because of the level of workload that they have. And by doing so, we were actually able to take the contract labor line from that division, that department, and reduce it by $50,000. So the addition of the net of the code officer is net that $50,000. When we originally talked about this, we talked about a code enforcement manager, code enforcement supervisor. We're going to come back at this point and just ask for a code enforcement officer to get us back to the same staffing level we had 3 months ago. And by doing that, that allows us to leave an individual over in inspections, again, so that they can complete the workload that they have and able to reduce the contractual services. Asking to add a housing manager. We would look at adding this on January the 1st, not doing it immediately. As you know, we are in the process of creating a new department called Neighborhood Services. The individual that's going to run this department, she'll be our Director of Neighborhood Services, is Denise Simon, and she is going to be over housing, animal control, code compliance, and neighborhood projects. So she's going to have her hands full, so I'm looking to get her some level of support So the housing manager is the direction we went. We did not go with the code manager. We did not move forward with the upgrade of the animal control supervisor to a manager. We simply asked for the housing manager, and I actually downgraded the pay grade on that one slightly. I still think we're going to be able to get a quality candidate, but that position would start January 1. In addition, we're adding a part-time individual at our convenience center so that our convenience center is more convenient. And we can expand hours on the weekend, expand hours on Saturdays to make the convenience center more convenient. Police funding, we had talked on Friday about adding 3 police officers and whether or not we would be able to move forward with that. Because of the reorganization in the police department, we were actually able to add the FY26 officers during FY25. We added 6 police officers to the department last year. The intent was to add 3 more because of some discussions we're having in the police department. We're trying to determine, because the restructure didn't completely work the way it was intended. So we're doing an evaluation to determine, do we need to do something with the structure over there, or do we have money to bring in the officers? So we included partial funding for the police officers that we can either use to address the restructure, and then when we're finished, move forward with hiring police officers. And then we'll resume adding 3 police officers to get back on pace next year. And then, yes.
I missed a little bit about that. Did you say no new officers, or are we just backfilling? I know you have a plan.
We currently have a number of vacant positions that if I added 3 officers, it would be months before they are filled.
So the goal is to fill.
We have to fill what we have first.
Before.
And I don't remember the number. I want to say we have 7 vacancies just in sworn.
And did you say the restructure is going to still happen at this time?
The restructure has happened, but has not worked as intended, so we're having to go back and look and readdress.
Okay.
So that's what we're using this funding for, is to readdress the restructure, and then anything that is left over, we'll look at bringing on an officer or 2 at the end of the year, so that way we can basically have a net increase of 3 next year, either through something we could do this year, plus the addition next year. Again, when we adopted the budget for FY25, we added 3 officers. Because of the restructure, we actually were able to become a little less top-heavy and add 3 officers to the street. So we actually added 6 police officers last year. So we're still on pace for an average of 3, and the intent is for that to happen again next year as well.
Okay.
And Mark, would the restructure involve re-adding that captain position? Is that what we're?
It might. That's one of the things that we're discussing.
One of a few different ways to approach it.
Yes, sir. And again, I don't have a proposal because we've started having the conversations, but we're not far enough along that I could actually give you an intelligent answer on it at this point.
Okay.
And then the other large add is compensation adjustments. And this is $1.3 million. And I will go through kind of how I got to this number and what it gives you and what the impact in a future year is, and then talk about other options in case you want to scale back. Okay? Also, again, I mentioned those non-recurring things that we're taking a large portion out of fund balance. It is the outfit of the firefighters, so $56,000 for them. The outfit of the police officers, if we were to add them, that way we have the money in the budget and can add them. We talked about a compensation classification study on Friday, and we've included funds for that. We talked about additional equipment and improvements at the animal shelter to bring it up to snuff. And then finance contract labor. We've for the last couple of years, we've had some individuals on contract helping us out because of the changes in the finance department. I think we need to continue with the level that we have one more year. So that's why I've made it non-recurring money, because my intent was to eliminate that this year, and we're just not there yet. But it would be one-time money this year, and it would go away next year. So again, revenues of $40 million, $38.4 million in expenditures, plus $1.5 million in recurring, plus another $296 in non-recurring. Actually puts the general fund expenditures over revenue by $214,000. We added quite a bit of money, or are projecting to add quite a bit of money to fund balance at the end of this fiscal year, and our reserves in the general fund are very healthy. $214,000 will not be a significant hit to that fund. So talking a little bit about compensation, this is impossible to read, and I apologize for that, but I shared this with you at a previous budget work session. This was a survey of 177 cities and their current level of pay for police officers. The top 10 start with Grand Prairie and go through Garland. For an entry-level position, it starts with Grand Prairie at $90,000. They are the highest paid in the Metroplex, all the way again down to Garland at $82,000. The city of Terrell is currently at $70,889. That puts us out of the 177 cities, that puts us at 71. As you move through the ranks, other than the city of Hearst, which has 2 steps, and a couple of the very small agencies that have, for example, Heath, that has 1 step, we actually move police officers through our range faster than just about every other organization. So you go from starting to maximum quicker, okay? So based on that, we are in the top 40% of agencies in the Metroplex, 71 out of 177. Once you get to year 2, we are at 59, year 3, 49, year 4, 39, and then up to 31, okay? Compensation option number 1. When we talked on Friday, we talked about the 2 most important resources we have, and we're talking about both of those this evening, and that's the community's money and our employees. And we came to you all with $2.9 million worth of requests. One of those was related to compensation, and we asked for guidance from you all as far as what did you want to see in terms of compensation. And we picked Forney as a benchmark simply because they are our neighbor. So we looked at the city of Forney, and we adjusted our this scenario adjusts our pay range up to get our police officers' starting pay to where the city of Forney is today, plus 5%. So that way we actually hopefully stay with the market and gets us close to Forney. Because we are trying to have parity, or at least increase parity between police and fire, there's a similar increase to fire that would bring them up to, again, the gap between step 1 for a police officer and firefighter is 10%. This change brings it up to a difference of 8%. So we're starting to close that gap. The one issue that we have with this is doing it. It is going to cost $1.3 million this year and an additional $727,000 next year. And the reason is I'm proposing to do, so we have range increases and step increases. And I talked about how both of those worked at a budget work session. I'm proposing to do the step on October 1 for everybody, okay? I want us to move to a uniform compensation date. So that way, when we move into performance evaluations, everybody is doing performance evaluations in August. There's no excuse for not remembering. Everybody's doing them in August. And then when we get to October, the merit can go into play, or merit or COLA or whatever the case may be, can go into place. For the range adjustment, I'm proposing that the range adjustment happen on April the 1st, only because I could not get you to the $2 million to 100% fund this option entirely in fiscal year 26. So that would be an April 1st step. But again, that would get your police officer starting pay to $79,100, which is very close to 5% of plus where Forney is today, and then brings your firefighters along. This would be an 11.5% range adjustment, a 13.5% range adjustment for fire on top of their normal steps. So by doing this, The agencies that would be above us, the 4 agencies above us now, if we do this, again, based on their pay today, without them making any changes, would be Rowlett, Roanoke, Waxahachie, and Capel. And the agencies that are directly below us will be Haltom City, University Park, Argyle, and Bartonville. Again, when they do compensation increases, we're immediately going to be behind again. However, based on the survey that I've used, if we were to do it in comparison to where everybody is today, we would be in the top 15% of police officer pay of the 177 cities, 27 out of 177, moving us from 71 to 27. By the time you get to year 4 and 5, we're in the top 2%. Again, that will change as other people do compensation increases, but this gets us much closer to the market with those individual cities we're competing with. And I'll stop there to see if that's how you would like to proceed, but there are some other options. Option 2, again, this one would be $1 million with $462,000 hitting next year. This would actually get us to where Forney is today without moving beyond that.
So this looks like the most aggressive that we had talked about.
This is the most aggressive.
Okay, which you heard what I heard from the council members is that they wanted to be competitive, if not the top, but close to the top. I'm still asking for and haven't received what these cities' revenues are. I think that's a better mark for us. I mean, obviously, an example, your neighbor and you can't compare those two because if one's income's higher and the other one, they can't afford the same thing. As a city, the same thing. If we're doing something wrong with comparable cities that have $40 million and we're low, we've got a problem. But if we're on the high end of it, that's good. Hey, that doesn't mean that we can't do better and compete with those that have higher revenue. That just speaks to us doing a good job and supporting our employees. I'm all for that. But I still would like to see what our revenue.
We will make sure you get that information.
Okay, good, thank you. Is anybody else?
I have something, Mayor. So one of the things that I think is important to pay attention to is I think one of the most important factors here is us being able to compete for recruitment. We discussed that because we have such a huge recruiting need with the new fire station, especially. I want to make sure that if we look at, can we go back to the slide that had all the different pay rates for different cities? We were in the middle there. I noted that after 2 years, we jumped from being the 71st highest up to the 49th. I want to make sure that we're advertising our pay in an appropriate way to show, okay, in 3 years you're making this amount, as opposed to only advertising the entry-level rate. Because I think that people look at it and they say, okay, in 3 years I can be making $80,000, and that's significantly higher than Melissa or Royce City or Duncanville or et cetera. So just something to consider that we're advertising correctly for our recruiting needs.
And that is something we are considering. We have some challenges there that I don't know that we've done a particularly good job in doing that. We're also going to be looking outside of the area when we test. Talk to Sue the next time we do a police exam. We're going to not only do one here, but we're looking at doing one east of here, probably Shreveport. And then we've talked to the Police Association, and they had a similar suggestion. They were talking Tennessee, Kentucky, Carolinas, where the pay for officers and firefighters are a little lower than where we are right now, to see if we can maybe get somebody from that area.
Okay.
Be interested.
I think also advertising sort of our specialty pay and our paramedic pay, those kinds of things, because, you consider in recent years, our recruitment in the fire department in particular, I think we've only had maybe 2 eligible applicants last year, and maybe the year before it was 3. And we've got to staff 3 shifts worth of firefighters. So we've got to really make sure we're on point with regard to competing with these other cities and getting some guys in the door.
Yeah, we're having conversations with both chiefs, and I'm having conversations with Sue to try to figure out a way that we can actually get an applicant pool that we can select from that actually has meat to it and numbers.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Next.
Yes,
I had a question about
Mm-hmm.
that. Hi, guys. Thank y'all.
Before we move forward, I got some housekeeping. With us now on the dais is Stephanie Holmes Thomas, District 4. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been listening, so thank you guys for your patience with traffic. Was there another slide after the option 2, which was less aggressive? I wanted to see what that final slide was and how.
Yes, ma'am. Option 1 was the most aggressive. Option 2 was a little less aggressive, that instead of exceeding Forney, got us to the same level as Forney. The next slide is the one that gets us to the same level as Forney, but does not address police and fire parity. That would be 997. And then option 4 would just to be a reduced range adjustment of 3% and 4% for fire, again, addressing the parity between the two. It would move the police officer step 1 from 71, essentially 71 to 73, put us about $2,500 behind Forney. Also, we talked about compensation increases for other staff on the most aggressive, now that I've messed up, and if Dawn, you can get me back in. I hit the button and I'm out of the presentation mode. Oh, okay. The non-sworn individuals would get a 2% range adjustment and a 2.5% step. Again, we had talked about doing something for the non-badge employees, 2.5% for department heads. In the next scenario, I dropped department heads to 1.5, back to what my original proposal was. Same with this slide. And then when you get to option 4 with the 3% and the 4% range adjustments for police and fire, I lower the non-sworn range adjustment to 1%. And then I have one where there are no range adjustments at all, and everybody just simply gets a step. Department heads would get 1.5%. The step for non-sworn is 2.5, and it varies between police and fire between 4.5, 6.5. 2%. So the minimum recommendation, if you were going to do a compensation increase, would be 570, because we had talked about moving those individuals through the range and not simply doing a range adjustment. That way you don't have a situation where you have an employee that's been here 3 years, has never gotten a step increase, but we've done 3 range adjustments, and now I hire somebody brand new and they're making the same amount of money as somebody that's been here 3 years.
I too want to know more about the revenue of like cities, also population like cities, and then I also mentioned in the meeting on Friday about the CERT pay. I want to see what the pay looks like with the CERT pay. Is there a limit on CERT pay, and kind of what those numbers look like?
We'll come up with an average for you. I mean, it varies between officer and officer to officer, but we'll get you a number on that.
And I'd like to know what the surrounding areas are doing with that CERT pay as well, because that's going to give me a better idea about what we're doing when these, with all those additional things, what they're taking home and what they're doing and how they're living.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it fair to, if you had the slide about Grand Prairie, but when we're looking at our police officers, our first responders, and the value that we have for them, are we having an issue because we are competing against larger cities? If we're going to be competing against someone larger, there is no competition. And employees, this is a different age of employees, different group of thinkers. And so they don't stay as long as my grandfather did. So I know I have law enforcement background, and if I was going to be a first responder, I would want to feel valued by my city. And knowing that all of us in this tri-state, this tri-city area are having the same conversations different times of day. Some Rockwall's looking at us, and as soon as we do something, Forney's going to do something different. And I don't want to compete with those people. I want us to have, what is our heart saying for our people? What do we want to do for Terrell? Because if I get lost in the Grand Prairie versus Crandall, we're lost in a conversation that is moot. I want our police officers, even the 911 operators, and our firefighters to have the best compensation package that the city of Terrell can offer. Because at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, when something bad happens, I do not want to be the city in the news that the fire truck was in maintenance or the firefighters didn't have the oxygen tanks or the police cars were, it was their time to be rotated. I don't want to hear that. I don't want them to get shot at. I don't want to lose another officer. That's my benchmark. If I had my way, we'd have a tank. But never mind that.
It's one of the things I don't
that's-
compromise is on is safety, so you won't see that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I
I
just say,
just take care of the people, and this is, I've told you before, this is the one thing that I'm not gonna fudge money on. It's like, no.
yeah, can I add something to the council? She's very right in that we shouldn't be competing with other municipalities when it comes to our employees. We should be the leader, not only for Kaufman County, but the area if possible, and do what's right for the city of Terrell. And let the chips fall where they may, and if they want to follow us, let them follow us. But know that you hear it from everybody about how much you care about our employees. This is putting your money where your mouth is, and going
Should
at
lead the way.
Yeah, but going at the compensation at the top level, and then still maintaining the tax rate the same. That's a heavy lift, and you were able to get it done. So good job.
Mark?
Yes.
I'm not hearing, aside maybe from one, like a favorite, 1 out of 3, 4 options. It sounds like we all still have information that we're hoping to see. I have a couple of different targets that I would love us to hit. One, being able to hire police staff for those vacant roles, hire the fire staff for any vacant roles, plus the fire station that's coming, because that's a decision that we made as a council to bring that forth. So I think we need to make sure to help do anything that we can do on the front end to help get those firefighters in. I also see, well, my other priority is making sure that our non-sworn staff also receive raises and get us closer to where they need to be at, which I know we have work to do. So when I look at the document that was just in front of us with the ratings, the comparison for other cities, it is helpful to see names, and even if they didn't have names, maybe just, it's helpful to see the population. I am also in agreement that it would be helpful to see what revenues they're bringing in, what kind of budget they're working with at this time for another comparison. I'm seeing that we provide, that the longer employees are here, that the higher the funds are for those officers or staff members. And at the same time, I'm not quite sure that's where we need to be. I'm wondering if and remind me if when we move to the ranges, or if we're only moving to ranges for some of our staff, if that's going to help distribute some of this funds, because if we're having trouble recruiting at the front end, is the way that I see it. If we're having trouble recruiting at the front end and we're needing to increase, but then we're also, for lack of a better word, fluffing up the back end, but our people aren't staying that long, it almost seems like an imbalance, right? If we need to get people at the front end and then keep them here because, back to, council members, other council members' points, because we're a great place to work at, because we take care of our people, not just with funds, but with other means. That I feel like we have some flexibility in what we make those different years look like in terms of funds. Maybe we don't need to have all the money at the back end and be number 7 or number 3, if you're here for 10 years. I'm just worried about the front end and keeping staff here by providing them a good place to work, a great place to work.
And one of the things that we've included in the FY26 budget is a comp and class study. So we would not be looking to move police and fire off of STEP. It would be the non-sworn staff that would move to open ranges. But as part of that, the hope is for them to come in and look to see where we fall and tell us what those ranges should be, what those steps should be in comparison to those entities we decide are our benchmarks.
And for this year, it sounds like at least with our fire and police, for them do more, it will help us bring in those firefighters and help fill those vacant roles, which is one of the targets.
And I presented multiple options. The most aggressive option is the one that I heard from council when we talked on Friday. Obviously, if we don't do that, there's some other things that we can do, because again, there was $3 million of needs and another $2 million that we didn't even really bring forward and talk about in any kind of detail.
Mark, one final thing, just to kind of address one of the councilwoman's points. Working for a fire department myself, I know that a big topic of conversation and a big issue a lot of departments deal with is retaining employees after 2 or 3 years. For example, Dallas is kind of known as the training department. You go there, you work for a couple of years, you get your certifications, they pay to train you, and then because the pay might not be as good at the highest ends, employees will leave Dallas and go somewhere else, where they can get a higher pay at the top end. So Dallas's big challenge is retaining employees because they don't have those steps at the higher levels. So if we were to change that, we might find ourselves in a separate issue, an entirely new problem. So.
Yeah, no, I just say, the good thing is everybody's engaged. All the council members, y'all got good points as we move forward with this, and we've decided exactly what we want to do. Again, not only did we address the sworn, but also the non-sworn our employees, which was a big thing for a lot of us here. So good job. Is there anything?
Now, as my presentation this evening was mainly on general fund, I do just have a couple of slides on the utility fund. Our revised utility fund, $21.9 million in revenue, about $17 million in expenditures. So we should have a positive ending balance in 25. For 26, $25.6 million in proposed revenue, which includes the rate increase we talked about previously. And then $25.2 million in expenditures, $352,000. Again, with Bernie on board, and as we bring in our new utility director, once we go through the recruitment process for that, we're hoping to see what we can do to mitigate any future increases. And we're having some discussions about areas in that department that need to be improved and need some attention. So we're working through those. Again, it's been about 3.5 months, and we're working. I'm working with department heads to try to make some progress. It's going to be a little slow because there's just a lot, but we are making progress and trying to put attention where attention needs to be put.
Right. No, you know what? It's been remarkable to see the progress that Mark has made for the mayor and the council. Imagine 12 months of being able to do something with it, man. So we're moving in the right direction. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, staff.
So the action this evening, what we're going to recommend is, normally staff would recommend that you approve the FY25 amended budget and the FY26 proposed budget. But because we were still printing fund summaries and double checking to make sure all of our numbers ticked and tied, I don't have the numbers for an ordinance this evening. So what we will do is we will get you the information that you are asking for. We will bring back a completed ordinance that has all the funds on it so that it's complete, and give you all an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And we'll come back and ask you to actually vote to approve the budget on Friday. It's on the the agenda already as a second reading. We'll actually do it as the first hearing, as the first reading. So the public hearings this evening, and then you could vote to approve at the next meeting. Again, we'll do what we can to get you the information that you're asking for so you can make the decisions. But we will move forward based on this package and modify as we need to.
Okay.
But when you do vote on Friday, there will also need to be a roll call vote. It'll be part of the same item. You'll vote on the budget. It'll be a roll call vote, and then there will be a ratification of the increase in taxes because of the changes in values, and it won't be a resolution or an ordinance or anything. It will just be a vote to ratify the increase in taxes.
And that's Friday as well.
And that's Friday as well.
Okay. Cool.
That is right.
All right, so there's no need in the 4.3 tonight?
No, so if you would postpone 4.3 till Friday.
Okay, can do. All right.
Mark, thanks
Thank
for
you
your hard
very
work on this, and to staff as well.
On the budget, Mayor.
All right, yes. Now, this was a public hearing, so we need to open up for the public hearing on the 4.2. This time, we will open the public hearing portion of this to receive comments regarding the amended fiscal year 2024-2025 budget and a budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1 of 2025 and ending September 30th of 2026. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this matter? Yes. If you would, please come forward, state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Zach Bowen. The address that makes me a stakeholder to this would be 3 Silent Wings Boulevard with the wonderful airport we have here. Ms. Anderson, I really like you. You're awesome. Quick question. I think you brought up a very valid point as far as like the newer generation and retention being a primary cause for concern and issue. I just had an interesting thought, and I don't know if it's like doable with Terrell, but with taxes in the conversation. One really interesting idea that we think is one challenge for I'm like a baby millennial, I'm 30, and then like the Zennial generation, being the up and coming law enforcement officers. One of the challenges that we face is home affordability. So I just thought like maybe one really interesting idea that may be plausible is, I think our top out was 4 years. Is that correct, sir? At 4 years, we waive property tax for law enforcement, firefighters, and operators. Thank you so much for bringing that up because they're often forgot about. I did 2 years of firefighting, and a lot of times I don't get a lot of light shined on them. So I thought that was a really interesting idea where it's like, hey, you work your tail off for 3-4 years, you become part of the community, you move here, we waive your property tax for Terrell. And then it also gets them into the actual local community as well, if maybe they're commuting from Forney or commuting from who knows, So just wanted to throw that idea out there. Maybe it's worthless, maybe it's worth something, but thanks.
Thank you for your comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Zamberlin Spencer McNutt, 119 Mellon Street, 121 Mellon Street. Bringing some information from our community meeting that we had 2 Sundays ago. One of the things I like for the council is we're talking about utilities and property taxes and those things to consider for those property owners that we have to be responsible for mowing and debris and all those different things. As it stands now, as Glenn Caldwell brought out, if you don't have a meter there, you don't receive services to pick up your rubbish and trash and garbage stuff, but we still held accountable for keeping that property clean. So because I'm paying property taxes, as one of our citizens said in the meeting, why is it that those property owners, the taxes that we pay cannot cover for us also having trash pickup or debris pickup from that? That would be another usage of the tax monies that we pay. And, I think all of us agree, like I said, we know taxes may have to be, increased for services. We don't want to see services decrease. Plus, we need maybe some more services. So if it has to raise a penny or two or something, we want the service. And as a property owner, I know right now we're cleaning a lot of debris, trees that have been down in the storm and what have you, and getting those off. But we can't get them picked up by the services that we have right now. But we pay taxes on those properties. So that was something I think should be considered as well, is allowing services to be given for those tax dollars that we pay for those properties. Okay?
Thank you for your comment.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? All right, at this time, we will close the public hearing, and we'll move on to 4.3. However, there is a request to postpone item 4.3. Is there a motion on 4.3?
I make a motion to postpone.
All right.
4.3.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Stephanie Holmes Thomas, District 4, a second from Phil Robinson, Mayor Pro Tem District 5, to postpone item 4.3, which is ordinance number 3136. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 5.1, discuss and consider authorizing the interim city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Granicus. This is going to be handled by our city secretary, Don Stahl.
Mayor and council, as you know, we talked about the presentation of our council meetings and the quality of those. We talked about them at our August 1st budget meeting, and we also talked about them on August 19th, and we had the Granicus representative present so that if any of you had any questions, and now I'll bring forward the contract, and I will move forward. The pricing summary is here, and as you can see, the one-time fees are basically purchasing the equipment, all of the setup, deployment, training, everything that goes into that. That comes to $63,428.62. Then the subscription fees, which is the AVR 50, is the annual payment for the production of the off-site production of the council meetings. The software license and the closed captioning so that everybody can participate in those meetings. And they are willing to defer the payment until October 1st because normally you do a 50% upfront fee. They are willing to defer that to October 1st so that we could go ahead and order our equipment. It would probably be October before we would actually go live with that. Mm-hmm. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mark, did you want to add anything?
And I just wanted to add that this is included in the proposed IT budget for FY26, so we have funding to cover both the capital expense and the recurring.
Okay, great. Council, as I recall, the last time we had a discussion on this item, everybody was in favor of it. The only issue was when could we make that down payment? They've waived that and allowed us to move forward now and go ahead and, yes. Okay, that's a good thing. So this is,
yes,
anybody have any questions for Don?
I do have a question. The last time we were here discussing the contract with Granicus. Thank you. I had a question about all board meetings being recorded because some happen here and then some happen maybe at, examples, airport, service center. Is there a plan to cover or to make sure that we have all the board meetings recorded? And if so, what is that plan?
Okay, so we did discuss this. In order to do, they can install cameras in other locations. The issue is you do have to have the sound equipment in place for that to happen. And currently the system in the Rosenbaum room at the police department is not functional. So that is something that we would have to look into fixing possibly. And then also the service center doesn't have any kind of AV equipment, sound equipment at all. So that could possibly be a phase 2 that we add on because that will be an additional cost. And I would be happy to get the additional cost of repairing the sound equipment in the Rosenbaum room and what it would cost to put it in the service center if y'all would like for me to do that.
Is there any reason why we can't have all our board meetings recorded and available to the public from the
Council
chamber?
chambers? Don't know.
I think if the goal is to make sure that that all our constituents have access to all the board meetings, why would we not make sure that they're held here? And if department wanted to host it, maybe a department liaison wanted to host it at their building for some reason, then maybe that comes out of their budget.
Which one currently has their meetings here. P and Z,
We currently have, yes,
council?
we have planning and
ZBA.
zoning, board of adjustments, Paddock, and TERS, and council.
So then the only ones that would meet, that do out at the service center are,
Park
Parks.
board and the airport board does theirs at the airport,
okay? So two.
yes.
So they could.
I agree with Mayor Ronnie, then bring those two into the council best we can.
So I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
save money.
How many meetings? I know I asked that the last time. We incorporate all those meetings. Do we have enough in
Well,
this quote to include those?
the 50 meetings that are included here, and I did include ZBA, TERS, Paddock, all of the ones that are held at the city, in the council chambers. I would probably have to add some more in order to incorporate the airport board and the park board.
Yep, it'd still be cheaper than putting all the equipment out there, I think, but let's look into it and see.
Okay.
All right, but for what we're discussing tonight would be ordinance 2256, which would be the council
Resolution,
chambers.
yes.
Resolution.
And yes, it would be probably an amendment to the contract
Okay.
to add those.
Yeah, we do that later. All right,
I
yes.
just wanted to reiterate that this is something that's been outcry for in the community. This increases our transparency. We get transcripts of our meetings, much better broadcasts that are clear and more direct. I think this is very much needed. Although I don't understand the naming situation here. Their name is Granicus Swaggart Avior.
The company,
Pick a name.
is actually Granicus, but the product that they're using is Swaggart Avior. It's what it's.
That's the
Okay,
product.
Swaggart
Yes.
Avior. All right.
Oh.
So many
It's-
names. All right.
Don, I want to say thank you for doing this. Thinking forward, your forward thinking is much appreciated. Because the best part for me is that everything is available to the public the next day.
Yeah.
And they can get pieces or the whole,
Or they can watch it
meeting.
live. Watching
yes.
it live. And the audio's better.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there a motion on 5.1, which is resolution number 2256?
Motion to approve resolution number 2256.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second,
We have a motion from our Mayor Pro Tem Phil Robinson, District 5, a second from our Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Donna Renee Anderson from District 2 to approve resolution number 2256, authorizing the interim city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Granicus. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously to vote those present. Our next item on the agenda is 5.2. Council, again, I've had a request to postpone item 5.2. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to postpone item 5.2.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
second,
I have a motion from Stephanie Holmes Thomas, District 4, a second from Donna Renee Anderson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 2, to postpone item 5.2, which is ordinance number 3126. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously to vote those present. Our next item on the agenda is 6.2. No, 6.1. Oh, it's the consent agenda. Again, I've had a request to pull 6.10. So let's do that first. Is there a motion to postpone 6.10?
what is 6.10?
The staff isn't ready to,
Ordinance number 3142, Madam Councilwoman.
You're looking for a motion, Mayor?
That will come
yes,
back.
I need a
Motion to postpone
Motion.
6.
motion to postpone
Motion,
6.10?
Oh,
I
6.10.
want to consider it separately right now, or?
No, we're going to postpone it. We're going to pull it and postpone it.
Pull it and
It will
postpone it.
come back on the September 19th agenda.
Okay.
So is that your motion?
Yeah, motion to pull agenda item 6.10 and consider it at a later date.
Postpone, all right, gotcha. Second,
Second.
we have a motion from our Mayor Pro Tem, Phil Robinson, District 5, a second from Stephanie Holmes Thomas, District 4, to postpone, pull item 6.10 and postpone it until our September meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimous vote of those present. The next item is our consent agenda, which includes all but 6.10. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
No, I have a question.
But we need a motion and we can discuss it.
Okay. And then I can ask my question?
Yes.
Because I don't want to do them all at once.
Oh, you want to pull one? Is there a request to pull one of the consent agenda? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I
I
didn't
have
know
a
that.
request to pull
Which one?
6.2.
6.2?
Yes, it's very long. But
Okay.
it says Atmos.
Okay, all right, we're pulling 6.2. Can we do the rest of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda minus item 6.2,
And 6.1, good, all right,
0.10.
good. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion from our Mayor Pro Tem Phil Robinson, District 5, a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3, to approve the consent agenda without 6.10 and 6.2. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 6.2. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we bring to you tonight on second reading, Resolution number 2253, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, approving a negotiated settlement between the Atmos City Steering Committee, ACSC, and the Atmos Energy Corporation Mid-Tex Division regarding the company's 2025 rate review mechanism filing, declaring existing rates to be unreasonable, adopting tariffs that reflect rate adjustments consistent with the negotiated settlement, finding the rates to be set by the attached settlement tariffs to be just and reasonable and in the public interest, approving an attachment establishing a benchmark for pensions and retiree medical benefits, requiring the company to reimburse ACSC's reasonable rate-making expenses, determining that this resolution was passed in accordance with the requirements of the Texas Open Meetings Act, adopting a savings clause, declaring an effective date, and requiring delivery of this resolution to the company and the ACSC's legal counsel. This again comes to you on second reading.
This is going to be handled by Don Stahl.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is basically a resolution adopting the rates that were negotiated by the ACSC, which is the Atmos, it's the Atmos City Steering Committee. They're the ones that we're a member of that organization, and they negotiate the rates every year for us. And the original rate that was put out by Atmos, they went back and negotiated that to a lower rate so that our rates the gas rates will be lower.
Okay, so my question was, I did not understand the statement declaring existing rates to be unreasonable. So you're saying they were unreasonable for the residents?
Yes, ma'am. And so they went on our behalf and negotiated those rates to be more reasonable.
And Section 4, so, okay, it wasn't clear, wasn't clear to me that the existing rates for natural gas service provided by the Atmos Mid-Tex are unreasonable, so they lowered the rates?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else? All right, is there a motion on 6.2, which is resolution number 2253?
Motion to approve resolution number 2253 as presented.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3, a second from Phil Robinson, Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, to approve resolution number 2253 as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is to adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney pending litigation. Also, Section 551 .074 personnel matters, and also Section 551.087 deliberations regarding economic development negotiations. We are now in executive session.
They do that for us every year, Donna Renee.
May I come up? I have a
They
quick
always
question.
wind up,
Mayor? Who, the mayor?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh.
they do that for us every year. Well, Atmos puts a rate up there, and then this group that
What's
we're a
that?
member of, they go in and negotiate.
Yeah, Zach, how are you?
To get it lower.
All right. We're going to reconvene into regular session and consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session. Are there any motions? Hearing none, we are adjourned.